Coding
made easy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to your next C++ Made Easy HD tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to be learning about the Deque class. Now, some people might call it Deque, some people call it Deque, but what it really stands for is double-ended queue. And as the name suggests, it's like a queue, but it has two ends. You can either add something to the front of it or add something to the back of it. So, if we really look at it, just like the functionality that we saw with the lists in the last tutorial, Deques really have the same functionality. And after we talk about all the standard library containers and all that stuff, I'm going to be showing you something really interesting about the containers, which will probably make you see them differently in a different light, and maybe it'll be more insightful to you. But let's continue with this. In order to use a double-ended queue, we have to include the queue class. Okay, so include queue. Now, just like every other or almost every other one, we just have to define the type like so and like that. So that's easy as pie. So we can do push back or push front. So we can just say Peter, and we can say names.push front, and we can put code made easy. Now the difference between a list and a double-ended queue is we can access it based on random access. Okay, so we can say names.size. Now we can just say scdcl names I and L. Okay, and so as we can see, when we run this, we get it in the order that which we specified. We added this to the back, but we pushed this to the front, and so it displays coding made easy before it displays my name Peter. And what we can do as well is we can pop it from the back and pop it from the front, right? So that is how Deques work as well. And now a lot of people might be saying, okay, Deques are like vectors, but they have even more functionality than vectors, so why should I use a vector over a Deque? Well, for one, whenever we do something or insert or delete or do whatever, alter anything with a Deque, it is not necessarily going to be contiguous in memory, much like an array or vector. Will that affect the flow of your program? It's up to you. If it does affect your program, then whatever. Also, because it has all this functionality, you might not need to use all the functionality. Why have something there when you don't need it? For example, if you only need something where you need to get the topmost or whatever, the topmost value, why not use a queue rather than a Deque? If you don't need to really cycle through it using random access, and you just only need the topmost value or the bottommost value, why not use a queue or a stack? It is just less work in memory, and there's less things that you need to include. That's why with C++, we only include things that we need. What's the sense in including everything that C++ has to offer if we're only going to use a portion of it? We should only include it if we actually need it. There are other benefits, and I will be showing you when I talk about the different containers. I hope I enlighten you and kind of show you which ones are better for different situations. But with a double-ended queue, it's pretty straightforward. It's much like a vector, but with more, as we can add to the front or we can add to the back, and yeah. So there's not really much else to talk about here. With iterators, they'll work the same, and so on and so forth. And since I've already talked about the other container classes, this tutorial is fairly short. But I want to show you something before I end it. Now, if we do something like this and we put front and we run this program, now you guys could probably have figured this out by yourself, but this will take the first letter from whatever that we're displaying. It's because this is of a type string. But if we were to change this to an integer type, it doesn't contain a front function, right? So we will get an error if we try to do it because it's of type int, and you can't extract like the first variable, the first number, and then int like so. So if we just get rid of this, then it can run fine. So that is basically it. And if I just undo all this stuff right here, undo what we just did, and if we just do back and we run this, as you can probably figure out, it gets the last element in it. So if you ever wanted to get the last element or whatever, or the first element of something, then you could very well do so. And much just like arrays, so like if we did something like this, right, we could get the first element, we can get the second element, the third element, whatever, within that string. So those are some other cool things we can do with the Deque class as well. But this is a fairly short tutorial. I hope you learned from this. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at CodingMadeEasy. Like me on Facebook, join my circle, and don't forget to sign up on my website and join the forum. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and bye.